Welcome to Source BMX. I'm here in Hastings, England with a technical street master, Colin Varanyak, and today we're going to check out his Haro premium build. All right, Colin, welcome to Hastings. Always happy to have you here at the Battle of Hastings. Let's start with your frame. You're riding the Haro CK. This is Chad Curley's signature. He's a technical wizard on the streets. You're a technical wizard on the streets. This bike is a pretty steep, compact frame made for technical riding. You're riding the 20.75 top tube. This thing has a really steep head tube at 75.5 and a short, responsive rear end at 12.7.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much said it. It's a short, responsive, snappy bike. I like to do a lot of quick technical tricks in the streets, so it's really good for that. Been also riding a little bit more transition this year, and the frame's been doing well on that too. It's definitely a little short and compact for some of the bigger transitions, but honestly, riding some street transitions and tight stuff, it's been really fun. I really like this frame.
Yeah, it's perfect. So what type of things, again, very responsive, what types of tricks would you say this frame helps you get done?
I'd say all the bunny hop tricks, like 360s and tail whips, all those things just come around a little bit faster than they would on a traditional park frame. So it just makes it easier when you're spinning in and out of grinds, or you're trying to do tail whips out of grinds. Just any of that stuff, really, any of the spinning stuff, it really helps you kind of get it around a little bit quicker. And I don't know, the bike just feels really responsive under your feet and arms.
All right, Colin, you have your own signature fork with premium. You've got a 20 millimeter offset, which is pretty steep without getting into that flatland range. What went into the design of this fork, and why do you choose this offset?
Well, I had been testing out different offsets really since I got on Animal back in the day. We tried a few different things out, a few different options. We had a few different prototypes, and I had tried everything ranging from 30 all the way down to 15. And 20 is just kind of that middle ground where I feel like it's really good for street. I can spin really fast. What it does is it helps bring the front wheel in a little bit, and that lowers the wheelbase from front to back, and that does make it a lot easier to spin. Although the tighter the wheelbase, you really do start to feel that at higher speeds. So when I was running a 15 millimeter offset fork, it was just a little too twitchy for me. I felt a little sketchy, when I'd go a little bit faster, especially in the streets. So that 20 millimeter is just a perfect middle ground. It helps me get into nose wheelies nice and easier. It helps with the 360s, spinning in and out of grinds, stuff like that. It's just really an all around good fork.
Okay, Colin, looks like you're riding, again, Chad Curley signature premium bars. I believe these are 9-inch rise, is that correct?
Yeah, 9-inch rise, and these also come pre-cut to the length that I personally like to ride them anyway, so it's awesome. You can just throw them on. You don't got to get any cutters out or try to borrow your friend's hacksaws or try to get a pipe cutter or something crazy like that. It's nice and easy. You just slap them on, and yeah, this is the length that both me and Chad like to ride. It's really good for bar spins. You don't have to worry about it catching in your shit or anything, but it's also not too narrow like some of those bars got back in the 90s. I remember trend. So yeah, just good all-around solid bar.
Yeah, I mean, it also has the butted tubing, internal butted tubing, so it's strong where it needs to be strong, but not overbuilt to save on weight.
Yeah, I haven't had any issues with, bending these bars at all. I tend to take a lot of big drops and been holding up solid. Built this bike in the beginning of the year and I haven't had any issues, so pretty hyped.
Lovely. And what about the grips? You got kind of this diamond ribbed pattern. You also have interesting kind of lower flange on here.
Yeah, these are also CK signature grips. Shout out to my boy Chad Curley. I really like these grips because they're a little bit thinner than some grips. Some of the grips get a little too thick and it's almost hard for you to hold on. These are a bit thinner. The pattern's really conducive for grip, and yeah, I love them. Good feel.
All right, Colin, you've got a premium sprocket. You've also got the premium pedals. Both have the plastic, so I assume that helps you slide and grind as necessary. Break down these two parts for you and how they help your riding.
Well, I think the plastic, as we've gotten older, it not only helps with grinds, but it also helps with spot preservation. If you're riding some of these spots, they're really easy to damage. And, as we've learned over time, they like to shut a lot of these spots down when we're damaging the property. So this just kind of helps eliminate that with the plastic sprocket guard in case you slip off of a grind. The plastic catches, doesn't mess anything up. Same thing with the pedals. I also really like these pedals because they're the premium slim pedals. So the platform is really slim, which kind of allows your feet just to be a little bit lower. And for me personally, I like my feet to be as low to the ground as possible. I think it helps with control and stability. So yeah, they're both just solid street parts, meant to last, meant to hold up. And they have a really good feel, like concave pedal, keeps your feet planted, just awesome. Been riding this pedal for a long time now.
And what kind of, I noticed like obviously you have the guard on so you can't really see it, but I feel like this premium Sprocket has a really classic design.
Yeah, it's just like a nice lightweight design. I was riding a solid Sprocket for a while and I found it to be a bit heavy. I just picked up a regular one time. I was like, man, this thing is really heavy. So I noticed they had just like a traditional Sprocket to go with the guard as well, and I threw that on there. And I'm liking it. Yeah, looks good.
All right, Colin, let's take a look at your seat. You got a premium vintage seat here, kind of classic size. How important is your seat shape and your seat post height?
For me, I've just kind of always run it the same. It's pretty much the same height as it's always been. I kind of like it. I don't even necessarily think I pinch for bar spins or anything. But traditional pivotal seat, just been running it for so long now that I love the way they feel. And this is like just a classic denim. It's got like a nice good look with the brown patch on top. Kind of goes well with the raw. Yeah, solid. I've been running the pivotal seat since I was, as long as I can remember, since I was a little kid. So
the seat for you is more about style than it is function.
Yeah, it's definitely about the aesthetic. I think it's really cool what you can do with seats these days, all the different patterns and stuff. And for me, this one just kind of, it's a clean look. Got the, like I said, the denim look goes really well with the raw, and the brown patch kind of matches the art from Chad's frame. So yeah, I just like it to look good.
So what about that? What about the art here? Is there like any particular inspiration that Chad took? Are you aware? You have any insight on what he was thinking?
I mean, Chad had the name, and this is back in his party days. He don't really go as hard. I mean, I don't want to say that about Chad. Chad can go hard, but he's a bit older, a little bit more of a family man now. But they would call him the Henny Monster. So he came up with this pretty cool. Haro came up with this design for him where there's actually a photo of him chilling in the Hennessy glass, relaxed.
Okay.
Got the smoke clouds around and everything. So really kind of one of the cooler designs I've ever seen by Haro, and yeah, proud.
So that's kind of a nod to Chad. He can party on and off the bike.
Yeah, he gets down.
Okay, Colin, let's talk about your signature rims. If I'm not mistaken, these are a bit of a wider rim. They're also a brakeless only rim. So what went into the concept of this design?
Yeah, we had been talking about doing a rim like this for a while, and actually when I signed on to Haro, they had already had these rims. They would already kind of had like a prototype for them, and I was like, hey, is there any way we can collaborate on these? This is something I've always thought would be cool to do. So like, yeah, let's get them on your bike and start testing them and see how you like them. And I mean, I fell in love instantly. For me, the wider rim allows for like a flatter tire, if that makes any sense, because the rim's a little bit wider. The tire doesn't have as much of like a bubble or a bulge, so it kind of becomes a little bit more of like a low profile. And I think personally it helps with balance. It keeps you upright a little bit more, less grind resistance because the tire's not bulging out as far. And the look, I really can't get over the look. It kind of just is like one simplistic round look. And to me, like anytime you have a rim with brakes, you have to have that flat part on the rim, and I kind of think it looks ugly. It's just personal opinion. So I mean, just the look alone on the rim, I think is really cool. And then functionality wise, it's like everything I'd ever want in a rim. Super solid. It holds up strong, and taking a bunch of drops and haven't had any issues. It's a strong, solid rim. So yeah, they come laced. All the premium wheels come laced to this rim too, which is also pretty cool. So if you pick up any set of premium wheels, they'll come laced with my signature rim.
So is this a out of the box wheel setup?
Yeah, out of the box wheel setup. Just threw it on there.
Okay, so they come just like this. So you can buy this. So let's talk about the hubs then. So you can buy this entire wheel set as is, straight out of the box, no complicated wheel building or anything like that.
No, the back wheel comes in 3 different options. You have your traditional free coaster, you have your regular cassette, and then they also have the newer, I forget the exact name for it, but it's the newer free coaster with the instant engagement.
And which are you choosing to ride here?
I ride the traditional free coaster. I've just gotten so used to having slack over the years, and I kind of like that little safety net. The new coaster's cool. I rode it for a bit, but I don't know, something about the traditional coaster and the way it feels, the silent, I just like it. So it's kind of
it's interesting to hear how some people are looking for the convenience of the free coaster, but they want that instant engagement, and other people would rather have the freedom of having a little more slack.
Yeah, and the newer free coaster is also a bit lighter too, so that's like something I can see why people would want it as well. But for me, just this is tried and true, and I'm used to it, and I like it, and it's what I prefer. Especially doing a lot of backward stuff, like I don't ever have to worry about it accidentally engaging because I can adjust the slack. I run a lot of slack in my coaster, so I just make sure there's no way that it's ever gonna engage. Because my biggest fear is doing like a big 180 or a big fakie drop, and landing backwards and having it engage and pitching you off the back of the bike. So I don't have to worry about that with this, just traditional, tried and true. But yeah, it's cool. 3 different options, and then, you know, front wheel as well comes laced to the rim. So really, really excited about it. Really grateful that Premium went and did that and put these on all the wheels to make like a solid, you know, it's a pain. Sometimes there's these higher end parts and you got to go and build your own wheel set. And that's kind of a lot for a kid to do, or even find a place for someone to do that for you. So it's nice, you know, you can get these straight out of the box, throw them on your bike and get cruising.
Yeah, it's nice when, like you said, it's exactly what the pros are riding, but no complicated wheel building process.
Yeah, nice and easy, straight out the box. Shout out Premium.
Okay, Colin, speaking of your tires, you were talking about how the rims give your tire the perfect shape. You also have the perfect tire for all-around riding, the Odyssey Super Circuit tire, kind of a low-profile, all-around design. What do you like about these tires? What size are you running? What PSI do you run?
Honestly, so these tires came about for me testing out some new prototype Premium tires that are foldable, and they're really light, and I kind of got used to riding the tires. And unfortunately, we ran out of samples, so until the productions come, I'm not going to have them. So I just went with like a dialed foldable tire that was on the market. Dennis Henderson's been running these ones, and he had a bunch of good things to say about them, so I figured I'd throw them on and try them. And they feel pretty similar to the Premium ones we've been working on, just really lightweight tire. I run probably like 50, anywhere from like 50 to 60 PSI.
Okay.
I used to run a little bit lower when I didn't run foldable tires. That's kind of been the trade-off, is with the foldable tires, you kind of have to run a bit more tire pressure to keep yourself from getting pinch flats, but I kind of like the light rotational weight. It just makes spinning and whips and bars like a little bit easier. So kind of grown accustomed to that. There's some drawbacks with the foldable tires, like wall rides are a little bit different, tend to slide off a little bit more because you don't have that like squishy stick you get with the traditional, you know, traditional tire, especially running like the higher PSI. And I think just because there's like less rubber in the tire too, like you don't get as much stick on wall rides. So a little bit pros and cons for sure. For me, I like them. I like the lightweight stuff, especially, you know, over time doing a lot of like bunny hop stuff. You're trying to film like a line. It takes a while. It's just nicer to have a bike that's, you know, you're not dying trying to pick it up after, you know, so many tries. But kind of the tire I decided to go with in the meantime, waiting for those new Premium tires to come in.
All right. So this is a little bit of research and development in a way.
Yeah, a little R&D.
All right, Colin, obviously you're someone that works the pegs a lot. So let's talk about your Premium pegs. You've got the alloy core. How do they collaborate with your Premium hub guards? How's this all keep you grinding smooth?
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing that's awesome. All Premium wheel sets now come equipped with plastic hub guards, so it's another thing. You just take them out of the box, throw them on there. You don't got to worry about it. I'll never forget when I was a kid and I bought a brand new wheel set. I think it was like an Odyssey wheel set, and it didn't come with a hub. They didn't, back in the day, any of them come with hub guards because it wasn't a thing. And I rode this bank to guardrail behind my house, and I was doing a bunch of ice pick stalls. I was super hyped. And I got home and my wheel stopped, like wasn't spinning right. And I guess I had like bent the inside of the hub, like into itself.
The flange.
Yeah, the flange into itself, and it just started rubbing, and there was like no fix for it. So I basically bought this brand new wheel, and I rode it for one session, and I had to get a new wheel. So ever since, it was like, man, I need hub guards always. So, you know, when I got the opportunity to work a little closer with Premium, that was one thing I said. I was like, hey man, you really need to make these wheels come stock with hub guards so kids don't have to go through that. So I'm really excited about that. And then yeah, just threw on 4 plastic Premium pegs, alloy inserts, so they're a little bit lighter. And yeah, I mean, plastic.
So it seems like weight is a big focus for you, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I definitely did when I was younger. I didn't really care about, but as I've gotten older, I've like just noticed it makes things a little bit easier, honestly. And like there was a period in BMX where things were getting light to the point where the bike wasn't safe, and that kind of, I think, steered a lot of pros away from like going lightweight, because the last thing you want to have is bike failure. That's like number one. But you know, with plastic pegs and foldable tires, that's not really like, those aren't essential parts. You know, I'm not running like carbon fiber forks or anything crazy like that. I don't have to worry about anything snapping. You know, if you get a flat tire, it's not a big deal. That happens all the time. So yeah, just finding areas where you can deduct a little bit of weight here and there definitely helps, I think, for me personally. So, you know, I'm not too crazy. I'm not like this insane weight weenie, but you know, when you're riding all day out in the streets and you're constantly picking up your bikes, it's a lot of work.
All right, Colin, thank you for sharing your Haro Premium build with Source BMX today. Good luck in the Battle of Hastings. Everyone out there, make sure to check out the Source Bike Builder. There you can see pricing, spec, and availability on everything Colin is riding. sourcebmx.com.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.